Welcome back. You're watching live from Paris on France 24. It's time now for Media Watch with James Creedon. Good evening to you, James.
Good evening, Laura.
Now, the French press is raking over Berlusconi's career, given that he agreed to step down yesterday. We're looking at the best and the worst. Where do we start?
Where do we start, indeed? Well, Les Inrecuptibles, that magazine that I can never pronounce, is talking about the top 10 saucepans that Berlusconi will drag after him for the rest of his days. The French call gaffes saucepans, which I always think is kind of funny. Casserole. Anyway, so the top one, and I think we have some pictures of it, is in the European Parliament. This is in 2003. He called a German MEP by the name of Martin Schulz, and I think we have pictures of him, the guy in question. He called him, he said you'd be the perfect for the role of the capo in the concentration camp. So he essentially said that he was a Nazi.
Oh, yes, I remember that one.
That's not very politically correct to say to a German MEP. Don't mention the war. He never saw that series. Then, of course, there was a moment where he left Angela Merkel. This is Martin Schulz here. This was that awful moment back in 2003 that I was just talking about. Highly inappropriate. Of course, there's so many. It's hard to know which to remember now. This is with Angela Merkel. This was in 2009. She was ready to meet him at the end of the red carpet at a summit. He decided to finish his phone call. You know, he wasn't going to go up the red carpet, so he just left her there hanging with her hands hanging, which I think is against every protocol rule in the book. Exactly. Then there was the time.
One wonders who was on the other end of the line.
This is it. It must have been somebody very, very important indeed.
Attractive.
Right? Who knows? Then there was at the moment when Obama was elected as president, and he said that he was tanned. Which I'm not really sure you should say that particularly. And there was a press conference in 2009 when he said Italian women were so beautiful, this is actually awful, that it's impossible to prevent them from being raped. And we'd need too many soldiers. So I think sometimes he just took the humour thing a little bit too far, didn't he?
He's got a terrible sense.
Terrible sense of humour. Some of it might be lost in translation. Some of it might just be plain bad. There was also the whole bunga bunga thing, and Le Monde was focusing on this in particular, saying that he to try to, I suppose, diffuse the tension surrounding that in public. He spoke to certain women, saying, "Oh, you're very pretty. I'll invite you to one of my bunga bunga parties." This with the media cameras there picking up on all of this, a way of diffusing the tension.
And we now know what goes on at the famous bunga bunga.
Right. So I think he was just digging the hole deeper and deeper for himself. So just where do you start? As one website was saying, to a top 10, you'd need a top 100 really.
And he offended the gay community as well, didn't he?
That's right. He on several occasions. One study reckons that 23% of his jokes were homophobic, and it's better. He said this was surrounding the whole bunga bunga thing. He said it's better to be attracted to beautiful women than to be gay. So there you go. 21st century leader.
We're going to miss him, aren't we?
A little, definitely.
Okay, let's move on, because the 11th day of the 11th month of the 2011th year is coming up.
This Friday.
And the quacks, if you like, are getting quite nervous about it, aren't they?
They're getting very excited. Remember the 9th of the 9th at 9 minutes past 9? Do you remember what happened?
Nothing.
Nothing, exactly. That's what Le Poste is saying. They're saying, look, this has happened so many times in the past, these dates that are kind of symbolic, and numerologists get very excited about it. But this one in particular is getting an awful lot of people excited because it's so unusual. It only happens once every century. And Le Poste is calling it a 1 minute non-event, because of course at 12 minutes past 11 on the 11th of the 11th of the 11th it'll all be over, no one will care anymore, but at 11 minutes past 11 on the 11th of the 11th of the 11th people are saying that all sorts of funny things are going to happen. So for one American medium, Solara, is saying a portal is going to open to another dimension. You also have a prophet from Ghana, I think we have his blog here,
it's always
Le Fin du Monde.fr, the end of the world.fr. Guess what he's predicting.
What's going to happen?
The blog is called the end of the world.fr.
Oh, right, okay, sorry, I get it now. Sorry, a little slow.
The world is going to end. Well, no, I mean they talk about other.
It's just how many times have people told us the world is going to end? I don't know.
It's been said a number of times. And then what else? There was this fairy alchemist lady here. I think she's got a blog. Says that we'll all be united in one loving expression of humanity.
Oh, that's a bit nice. So let's focus on that.
So lots of superstitions and predictions about what's going to happen this Friday at 11 minutes past 11.
Oh, we'll have to wait and see. Okay, now let's move on to another story, because this is very sad. An elderly couple, they're in their 80s, and they've fallen on hard times because of the economic crisis, and they've had to put their their stuff back on and go back to work.
They have indeed. Georges Gardon, 84, and his wife Suzanne, 81. Between the two of them, they only had about €1,000 a month to live on. It's not a lot of money when you're thinking about heating bills during the winter and, you know, if you have a car to run and all of that. So they decided they were going to go back to work after being retired for some 12 years. They'd run boulangeries and bakeries and bars down through the years, so they decided to do the same again. Their 4 children thought it was a terrible idea. I think we have some pictures of them here. But they somehow managed to cobble the money together. And the banks, when they went to the bank to ask to get a loan to buy the material, they were laughed out the door. So they're going to rent some of the material. In any case, it's going to be up and running later on this month. So I suppose
they're making bread and cakes and
the whole lot.
Quite heavy work, isn't it?
It is a lot of work for 2 elderly people.
Starts.
But apparently some of it too is because they were a bit bored, so they just want the activity too. So look, hopefully it'll work out for them.
Good luck to them.
Yes.
Wonder how long they'll be around for. Anyway. All right, just very quickly, a French police dog has been given state honours.
That's right, and I think we have pictures of him. His name is Aldo. He solved some 1,700. He was behind 1,700 arrests. 475 different cases this year alone have been solved thanks to him. So he's been given state honours. Apparently he yawned during the ceremony, which I think is not what you're meant to do.
Worse,
and one journalist from Le Monde said, well, when you think of all the people who got the Legion of Honour, you know, singers and really bad actors, TV presenters, etc. You know, I think Aldo probably deserved that too, more than they did.
I'm sure a lot of drug dealers would like to get their hands on that dog.
Right. Wring his neck for him.
Yeah. All right, James Creedon, thank you very much indeed. That's it for Media Watch. Well, it's time now for our daily dose of web news, and we're starting in the Syrian city of Homs, where despite an escalation in violence, the resistance against President Bashar al-Assad is very much still going strong.